Manchester United's biggest problem is not money. It is not the stadium. It is not even the players. The biggest problem at Old Trafford is a mentality that has slowly weakened the standards of this football club. The mentality of saying, we are building for the future. At first, it sounds positive. It sounds patient. It sounds like a smart long-term plan. But for Manchester United, that phrase has become dangerous because there is a difference between building for the future and using the future as an excuse for the present. Manchester United should always be planning ahead. Every elite club does. They develop young players, they improve their squad, they create a long-term vision, but they also compete. They also demand results. They also expect trophies. That is what separates the biggest clubs from everyone else. The greatest teams in football history never waited for the perfect moment to start winning. They built while competing, they improved while lifting trophies, they evolved while maintaining their standards. And that is the mentality Manchester United must bring back. Because for too long, the club has been trapped in a cycle. A new manager arrives, a new vision begins, new players come in, fans are told to be patient. Everyone talks about progress, but seasons pass, and the biggest trophies remain out of reach. The problem is not that rebuilding is wrong. Every club rebuilds. The problem is when rebuilding becomes the identity. When a club as big as Manchester United starts thinking like a project instead of a powerhouse. That is where the mentality has to change. Look at what happened during previous rebuild attempts. Managers arrived with different philosophies. Players were signed for different systems. The squad constantly changed direction. Instead of creating a clear winning machine, the club often looked like it was constantly starting again. That is why the next era under Michael Carrick cannot be built around patience alone. It has to be built around ambition. If Carrick is going to lead Manchester United forward, the message must be clear from the beginning. This is not just about creating a team for 5 years from now. This is about creating a team that can compete immediately while building for the future. Those two things can exist together. A young player can develop while chasing trophies. A new signing can adapt while competing at the highest level. A manager can improve a team while still being judged by results. That is how elite clubs operate. Manchester United cannot afford to lower expectations because expectations are what created the identity of this club. Old Trafford was built on pressure, the pressure to win, the pressure to improve, the pressure to perform when it matters most. That pressure is not a weakness. It is an advantage. The best players in the world want that pressure. The best managers want that pressure because pressure creates greatness. And now the same mentality has to be applied in the transfer market. Manchester United's potential spending power gives them an opportunity to improve the squad significantly. But the key word is opportunity. Money alone does not create success. The club has learned that lesson. Spending huge amounts without a clear plan does not guarantee trophies. The squad needs balance, the right profiles, the right mentality, the right players for the system. And this is where the new structure under Ineos becomes important. The focus cannot simply be buying the biggest names. It has to be building a squad that makes sense. Every signing needs a purpose. Does this player improve the starting 11? Does this player fit the style? Does this player have the mentality required to handle Manchester United pressure? Those are the questions that matter. Because great teams are not created by collecting expensive players. They are created by creating a group that understands how to win together. That means some players may have to leave, not because they are bad players, but because every rebuild requires difficult decisions. The squad cannot move forward if it is carrying players who no longer fit the direction. The future budget could be heavily influenced by player sales. The more effectively Manchester United manage their squad, the more freedom they create to strengthen the team. But again, the biggest change is not financial. It is mental. Manchester United must stop thinking like a club trying to return to greatness. They must start thinking like a club that belongs at the top. There is a difference. A club trying to return asks, how long will it take? A club built for greatness asks, how quickly can we compete? That does not mean demanding unrealistic success overnight. It means refusing to accept a mentality where winning is always delayed. Because winning creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. Momentum creates belief, and belief is what turns talented players into champions. Michael Carrick's challenge is not just building a squad, it is rebuilding the mentality. The players need to understand that every match matters. The signings need to understand that expectations are different at Manchester United. The club needs to understand that development and winning are not separate paths. They are connected. The future matters. But the future is created by what happens today. Manchester United do not need another endless rebuild. They need a winning rebuild. A rebuild where young players grow, where smart transfers happen, where the squad improves, but where trophies remain the target from the very beginning. Because the one mentality Manchester United must destroy is this: we are building for tomorrow, so today does not matter. Today always matters, especially at Manchester United. And until that mentality changes, no transfer window, no manager, and no amount of money will completely solve the biggest problem at Old Trafford.